everyone, I'm Liz Hunt.
And I'm Chelsea Poppens.
And you are listening to the Agency Rocket Show, where we talk about the chaos of running our very own creative agency. Yeah.
Welcome back. We've talked about our branding process in detail. We've talked about why you shouldn't start a project without a discovery meeting.
What?
What? Who would have thunk? And then we've also talked about pricing your branding project. And today we would like to talk about some of the top items that we include in our branding deliverables, what we put in there. So some of the top items, Liz, what are those? What come to mind? What do we give the people?
Yeah, what do we give the people? Give them what they want. We give them what they want.
What do they want?
What do you want? So when it comes to kind of those primary top 3 things that we give clients for any brand project, the number one thing is obviously a brand book. And we're going to talk about what all that includes. The number 2 thing is we give them logo files. We're going to talk about what all is included in that. And then number 3 item is their font files. We're going to show them and give them where to find those font files, how to find them, or at least how to purchase their own licenses. So top 3 things. We give the people what they want.
Yeah. And obviously, sometimes the deliverables range depending on the project, but these are our top items that we'll get into a little bit more detail. So Liz, first one was those logo files. What does that entail?
So for every branding project, this is basic. We always give them a huge folder of logo files. And for any client, that is going to include their logo in every file format possible that they could possibly need.
And who knew there were so many formats?
Honestly, who knew? Truly, who knew? In fact, one of the things that we started doing several years ago is including a navigation sheet on how to figure out what file that the client might need. It's a glossary. It's a navigation for like, what file do I need? If this, choose this folder. If this, choose that folder. It's a cheat sheet for how to know.
And it's totally necessary. I didn't realize before I came to work at an agency, I didn't realize that there was print versus digital. And and I didn't understand the color issue that's faced versus digital versus print. And so I learned a lot from you guys. I'm a designer now. No, but
I know color theory. Yes, there's so many things. Like your very kind self, Miss Chelsea. Most people don't know that there is some minor complexity to choosing the right files. And a lot of times I'll tell clients, just send the printer or send whoever the expert is that you're working with, just send them the entire folder and they'll be able to figure it out. But sometimes you don't have an expert that you can just send a folder to. So in that case, we give them the fancy little cheat sheet that tells them what file to choose. So one of the things that we do in the logo files is we give them 2 different folders that says web and print. So that hopefully right away, they know at least if they are looking for a logo that is going on the web, digital, or if it's going to be printed. So hopefully they can answer that on their own.
Design for dummies.
We do try to make it as simple as possible. Sometimes it's not very simple, but we try to make it as simple as possible. And then after that, we go into what type of logo are you looking for? So are you looking for the logo mark? Are you looking for the logo type? Are you looking for a horizontal logo? Are you looking for a vertical logo? Are you looking for your primary logo? And so we have them choose which format or like logo lockup are you looking for, right? And so once they choose that, then they can figure out what color and what file. So Illustrator, EPS, JPEG, PNG, whatever it is, they can choose from that. And then in there, they'll have a black, a white, a full color, a one color file from all of those different types. And so for every single web and print file format, and every single logo mark has a black, white, and single color, full color, horizontal, vertical, so on and so forth. Every single one of those, we create all of those versions for every single brand client that we
and have. If you're a creative, a designer listening to this and you have PTSD around how much time it takes to save out those files, we use Logo Package. All of our designers seem to love it. It helps you save out all of those files pretty seamlessly after entering those graphics into there. So
I believe it's a script that is attached to Illustrator. So it helps save out all those files. Yeah, pretty easily. It's great.
I have never actually used it, but I've heard wonderful things about it.
One of the other things that we do for our logo files is we obviously name everything accordingly. So our files are named according to what exactly it is. So if it's logo mark, single color, horizontal, or something like that. So we make sure that the files are named exactly according to what you are getting. So that's a big part of what it is too.
I might be getting off script and going down a rabbit hole, but
because clearly we have a script.
Well, yeah. I think it's interesting that not all designers, I mean, you look at logos and graphics from like businesses across the board. Not everybody has a horizontal logo. Not everybody has these different variations. In your words, Liz, how important is it to have the specific things mapped out separately, whether it's the logo mark, whether it's your primary logo to that secondary logo, or a horizontal one for unique spaces that you're going to be placing that logo?
Yeah. Well, okay, so two things. I believe in what we at DayCloud do is providing a premium service. And so to me, whenever you are providing a premium service, that means that you are always going the extra mile for your client. And so we are always going to do everything as far extra that we possibly can for our clients. That's one of the reasons that we give them every possible scenario that we can for their brand. The reason we do that is to give them as much versatility and scalability that we can offer them with their brand. And that could look like applications for a logo mark on a pen or a logo type on a pen versus the full logo on a gigantic billboard. Because to your point, Chelsea, the varying sizes of space allow for varying sizes of the logo itself. And so we want to account for things like that and different applications. Allowing for that kind of versatility, I think, really sets the client up for success in their visual identity. And so that's what we want to do in being a premium branding agency. We want to make sure that we are offering that level of service for our clients. Another thing that we make sure is included in our logo files is that as far as like colors go, we make sure that they have every variation of color that's included for all of the different logo files. So we give them the logo files in CMYK, Pantone colors, and RGB or hex, whichever one. It doesn't, I might get ridiculed for this, but I don't think it matters. Whichever one, RGB or hex. CMYK and Pantone do matter. Those are very different. But when it comes to digital, you can do hex or RGB, and then for print, we always give them Pantone and CMYK colors.
It's at printing. This point that we lost a lot of people with that language.
Any non-designers like around.
Abbreviations.
Yes.
Roy G. Biv.
Yeah. Roy G. Yes. Yes, exactly. But I do think that kind of stuff is very important for whenever you're talking to a branding expert, because that's the kind of stuff that clients need to know whenever they're talking about having anything printed, so that they can have brand consistency across all of their print items versus digital items. So that kind of stuff is important.
Yeah, that's great. And a lot of our clients trust us to provide clarity and to help educate them on the uses. And we have people still reaching out that will take their package files and they'll still have questions. We're always there to serve.
Absolutely.
But I think that goes in hand with the next item that we provide in the deliverables is those brand guidelines. Is yes, we give them these logo files with all of these different variations, different colors that are coordinated with that brand palette. And I think if you listen to our previous episodes, we go into more detail of what's involved in that stylescape. But the brand guidelines really set the tone so that the messaging and the visuals are consistently used by your employees, by the people within your company across your different platforms. And it's a game changer for keeping everyone and internal teams out to people outside of your company on the same page.
Yes. So coming in at number 2, top asset that we include in any sort of brand package is we always include a brand book. And nowadays it can be a PDF. It could even be like a nice Canva presentation that gets turned into a website for a client or whatever it needs to be, or a Google Sheet or, whatever it needs to be. I think having some form of brand guidelines that is digital. I don't think it needs to be printed anymore. I think back in the day it did, but I don't think that's the case any longer. So brand book is very important, I think, for clients in our brand packages that we offer our clients, because it answers the question on how do we visually represent ourselves. And in some cases, depending on the client, also, how do we talk about ourselves? Depending on how much money the client spends with us.
Yeah.
And typically those are the clients that we take. So
yeah,
it
also
is typically
maps
part
out
of our package.
What scenarios each piece goes into, because yes, sometimes we'll get into the font files and stuff, but I mean, capitalization doesn't need to be used everywhere. We don't need to be yelling at people all the time.
Yes. Yeah. Well, in some brands, that is kind of their thing, and other brands, it's not, and we kind of set those standards in our brand standard book. So some of the things that we have in our brand book would be logo usage. So we have information about what amount of clear space needs to go around the logo. So don't let a bunch of stuff be encroaching in the area around the logo. Or can you have stuff encroaching around the logo? We talk about don't stretch out the logo or make it disproportional or change it into non-brand colors, things like that, just so that there's clear guide rails for marketers and non-marketers to know how to use the visual identity of a company, right? And then we have things like, what are our brand assets like graphical elements? So textures, patterns, illustrations, things like that. We have those elements in there. Like, how do we use those elements? Is it photography overlaid? Is it patterns that go behind our branding elements? Just different things like that, where it's really housed in there of like, how do we represent our organization in a visual format? And so then we also have things like our photography style. We talk about, what is our photography style? Is it up close photos of our specific housing developments that we have? Or is it aerial views of our cornfields? Just different things like that. Is it warm lighting? Is it soft lighting? And so we talk about photography styles. We talk about video styles. We talk about things like, what are our fonts? What are our brand fonts? I am very much of the school of thought that your brand fonts cannot be your logo font. That is something that, shout out to Nate Voss, one of my professors in school, said that is a no-no, and I have held that in my heart for all my years as a designer. And that is a controversial thing. Chelsea, I know you wanted to know this, but it's very controversial.
I was dying to know that.
I know.
The controversy, the tea. Tell me more.
I know your head is exploding.
What else do designers fight about?
Well, I have a long list, and we don't have time in this one. But many designers think that it's cool, or you should have the logo font be part of your brand fonts. But I think that it steals away the importance of your logo itself. And so I think you should have separate fonts from your logo font. So you have your logo font, and then you have your typographic systems that are used to reinforce the brand itself. And those are separate. And so we have layout examples, how you should use those things. And
titles, subheadings,
yep.
paragraphs.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then, like you were saying earlier, we have mock-ups and examples of what do our business cards look like? What does our letterhead look like? What would it look like if we had polos with our branding on it, or t-shirts with our branding on it, or mock-ups of different ads in various locations, or a mock-up of our website, different things like that. And we include some of those things in the brand book just to help remind the clients, this is our visual identity. This is how we see ourselves. This is who we are. And just helping them. And then the rest of the organization, because a lot of times the marketing people that are the keepers of the brand book, they get it. But it's a lot of the other people in the organization that really need the brand book to teach them and really show them how to use it, that are the ones that really, really need that brand book. And so that's why we spend so much time and energy and effort on making sure that it's very clear what it is that the visual identity is, and showing examples and explaining what we mean when we say, this is why this photography style is set up this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it just sets the groundwork, because obviously different clients are going to be a little bit looser. Like, we can hand over the brand guidelines, and what people do with it is up to them. But some clients are looser around it. Some people are pretty stringent. Like, this is how I use it. This is how we don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, some clients are more loosey-goosey about it. Some are really strict.
Yeah. I was getting down to the watering down of a brand. And getting too loose with your brand and your brand guidelines can sometimes water down your brand and brand awareness, brand affinity, to a point where it's not as recognizable, because it's been used in so many different ways outside of the guidelines that have been set. Yeah. And so that's just kind of like a steering point away from getting too loose from like a certain brand that you've created for your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in some cases, what we are trying to do is give some organizations a really solid jumping off point, because every brand has to evolve to some degree over time, because all companies ebb and flow and evolve or grow. Well, hopefully they grow. And so the goal for us is to give them a really solid foundation to jump off from, right? And evolve and grow the brand. That's really what we're trying to do, is give them that firm, solid place that they can take it and then run with it.
Mm-hmm. And that's also why we're a premium service. Like, we offer premium branding packages and projects to our clients. It's not like we're giving them a very siloed version of their brand deliverables, and the assets that we're giving them are well thought out. And like Liz mentioned, in different variations, from the primary to the logo mark to a horizontal, we give options for multi-use across all platforms in different scenarios, whether that's print or digital. So that's the difference between working with a freelancer and working with an agency. With a freelancer, I mean, depending on your budget, you might not be getting the same type of service or the same type of deliverables in the end.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely right. And to that end, another big part of what we include in our brand book that isn't necessarily something that everyone can include and isn't necessarily a vital part, but something that we always include, is the brand tone of voice and brand messaging and brand story, things like your brand vision and promise. And a lot of times when we can, we'll include things like your brand archetype. And we do a lot of taglines and marketing slogans and stuff too, to give that extra push for the client, to give them that extra spiff, of good stuff that they need, that extra
give
juice.
A little zest.
Yeah. Just give them that extra juice that they need to like take the brand that much further, because a brand is more than just the visual parts. It's the messaging and it's the feelings and it's the emotions and it's all the different senses and everything. And so we want to try to work with clients in order to hit as many of those points as possible. And so we know that the messaging is important too. And that's a strength of ours as far as our agency. And so we always try to make sure that those elements are included as well.
Mm-hmm. And we knock it out.
We try.
60% of the time it works every time.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so we talk about our brand guidelines. We talked about the logo files. What is our final deliverable is?
Well, so this one is pretty easy, but I think it's something that can be overlooked even by my team at times. But I think it's actually something that's
She's
pretty
not
important.
Talking about me.
No, of course not. Of course not. But sending the client the font files, and I'm not talking about illegally. Don't do that. But for example, if you are using a Google font or an Adobe font, when you're sending the client the logo files and the brand book, send them links to where they can download the Google font that you are using for your brand files, or send them the links to where they can get the Adobe fonts, or send them links to where they can purchase their own licenses of the brand font. It's just kind of that extra level of good customer service, being a premium designer and creating a premium product for the client. I think it's helpful. I think it's great showing the client like, hey, here's what you can do. Here's how you can offer this. And then also include a version of fonts that comes as a default on typical computers. So like if your client is most people are, if your client is typically a PC user across their company, include a font or two fonts that most people in their company can use as their brand font, that they don't have to download all of the brand fonts across every single computer in their company, but just say, hey, for emails, email signatures, things like that, use this font as your company-wide default font that can be a substitute for our brand fonts for someone who doesn't have the brand fonts uploaded. So that's just kind of a nice thing to do. One of the things I will say is that we used to design people's email signatures, but it just became such a pain in the booty because everybody uses different types of emails and wants different things, and it just was not worth it. And so we started saying, just use this font on your whatever kind of computer you have, a PC typically, and make your own email signature out of that. That's something that we have learned over the years, I would say. But send them fonts, at least where to get them, where to purchase them. And better yet, use Google Fonts or Adobe Fonts. That's what I would say that we do for top 3 things that you should definitely send for a brand for clients.
Yeah, those are definitely our primary deliverables with every project. Like we mentioned earlier, depending on the client and their needs, sometimes there's print ready files that we end up creating for them, whether that's an envelope or a letterhead, or working with the printer to help get those things sorted. There's different things. Sometimes people want social media templates to use. So just additional deliverables on top of that can be obviously customized per the need. So as a designer, you can create as many deliverables as you like, but those are our primary ones. Yeah,
that's very true. Over the years, we've done other different deliverables. A lot of times, it used to be we would just do stationery, like printed stationery, business card, letterhead, envelopes, and I think that was it. And then we would do some social media posts for them that we'd create to help them announce their new brand. And we would create the captions that says, introducing our new brand, and things like that. And then now it's a lot more, we will do email newsletters, we'll do some light animated videos for them that are introducing their rebrand, or like you said, just some really nice, maybe some video commercials, things like that, that are really awesome and fun to do. So
delighting the client, pleasing you pleases us.
Stop. Okay, context for that is we had a client once who said that had to be the slogan on the homepage featured image of their website. And we tried to talk them out of it. We tried to hide it. And they said, no, that needs to go right on the front.
Right smack dab so everybody can see it.
Very first thing that people see when they land on our website. And it needs to say, pleasing you pleases us. And we
so now it's our DayCloud slogan.
Dear God. Dear God, this is never going in our portfolio. Or maybe it should. I don't know. Maybe we get more customers. Yeah.
We should put it down in our footer just to test it out. You know, pleasing you pleases us. Women-owned business.
Oh God, Chelsea, that's worse. Oh my God.
It'd be hilarious. Yeah. We could get some contact form submissions. Absolutely.
Yes, we would.
Like, I heard you like pleasing people.
Oh, God. Chelsea. Oh, God. Yes.
Too funny.
Gotta get that.
You know our old song, Boom, Boom, Choo? Gotta get that.
Yes.
Boom, Boom, Choo.
That's literally what I was singing.
Yeah. I love it.
Oh, Chelsea. You're a good kid. Even though you say weird things.
You're a nice old lady.
Was that to me?
You called me a kid.
Oh my goodness.
You're a good kid.
I call everybody kid.
You're a good kid too.
I call this sweet old couple that works out right before me, I call them kids.
They probably love that.
They're really sweet.
Yeah.
I love them.
You're some good kids.
Good kids.
All right. Well, to get back on track, those are our top 3 deliverables that we include with every branding project. Stay tuned.
I'd love to hear what we missed, actually.
Yeah, I would love to hear
if there's other things that other people do. Mm-hmm.
I would love to hear your craziest deliverable. If anyone wants to chime in and let us know their craziest, weirdest, most unique, eccentric deliverable that you've done for somebody, I'm here for it. Let's make it weird.
Yeah. Please, let's make it weird. Yeah, I'm here for that. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, if you like this podcast, please like, share, follow, and tune into our next episode to learn some more.
Bye.
Bye.